All right, Elliot, we're here. You've just finished the summer break chapter as of
Like,
5 seconds ago.
yeah, about a minute.
What do you think, Elliot? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I like the Kenneteers. Just I don't know. I'm like shell shocked.
Mm,
It went. I mean, not ideally.
yeah.
When? How long ago did you read the chapter?
Uh, I'd say about 3 hours ago, and I've been pretty much alternating between panicking and furiously typing in Discord ever since.
Yeah, I was actually you messaged me and was like, "Let's record some bonus thing right after you read that."
Well, yeah, so right after I finished it, I messaged you saying the chapter is out. I know it's probably a bit late, but I would recommend reading it ASAP. Or maybe don't read it because I'm now cursed to be unable to think or do anything else for a few days. And then about 3 minutes later, I said, what are the chances that you do a live read tonight and then immediately jump into a recording session and record your immediate reaction?
Yeah,
um,
and I was surprised because it's now 1 a.m.
yeah,
here. I was
yeah.
surprised you were still up
No, I'm
for
still
this,
up. I'm
but I
still up.
see why now.
Yeah. Elliot, what do you rate the
Oh,
chances that this is the final non-epilogue chapter of Pale?
I I don't know anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
it it can't it can't end like this. But then,
That was my immediate reaction as well. I think immediately I got in because I've been in the Pale Spoilers chat channel
yeah,
in our
that's where
Discord,
I'll be going
um,
as soon as we're done here.
at doofmedia.com/Discord. Um, I think the first thing I said in that channel as soon as I finished reading it was, uh, I can't handle this. This can't be it, right?
I,
And I I don't know, like I feel like I've been on a journey of the 5 stages of grief over the course of this evening.
I think I went through that 5 times reading the chapter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean like obviously we're going to record our episode this week and everything, but like I wanted to jump in here because I thought there's a solid conversation about does this feel like it's the last chapter or not? And obviously that's going to be obviously like invalid by the time we record
yeah,
our episode. So I thought it might be fun for us to jump in and just kind of like vibe it out and chit chat about it. And
I'm
um,
like sweating. It's like 1 a.m. Like
yeah,
after reading it, I'm just
well, legitimately, it made me feel nauseous for a little bit of just like the reaction of processing. Is this it? Like,
it.
is this what's going on? And there have been, I'll just tell you now, a lot of like bargaining esque thoughts that I've been putting in the Discord of like trying to figure out how this isn't it or what this means if it is it. And like, I'm sure we'll run through some of these now, but yeah, God, just like, God, fuck.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like I'm in shock. Like I'm not processing good. Like it's I'm just sitting here. I'm just like that can't be it. But then also like
what
what?
else could happen? Yeah, so here's the thought. Here's the really scary thought, Elliot, is a lot of people their immediate reaction, I'm gonna tell you some comments because I've been obsessing over the discords, all the
Yeah,
various
that
discords.
that's fine.
Basically the main comment that I keep seeing from people is, well, this feels like it's either the end of act two and there's still an entire third act, or it's the end of the story. And just given
Yeah,
like meta textually what we know about the story, it feels to me like that means, and a lot of people are feeling like that means it's the end of the story. And what does that mean? Like, the thought that's really scary to me, Elliot, is we know Walbo is doing more stuff in this universe. This is the end of the second film, kind of moment, right? This is what's the second Star Wars film? I can't remember what it's called right now because
episode
it's
5.
1 a.m. But yeah, it's well, thanks. Yeah, it's the episode 5 moment, right? Of like, I could totally see the world where this is the episode 5 moment, and it's just, oh fuck, like the Kenneteers were so pure of heart but still lost, and now we need to see what's going to happen in Return of the Jedi. Is that right?
I don't know. Star Wars movie titles are terrible and
They're obviously
confusing,
nonsense. Yeah,
and but that's not a rant I need to go into right now.
Yeah.
I've gone into it in other podcasts before.
Yeah, I feel like I just want to say one more thing quickly, which is like
Yeah.
we'll talk about. To be very clear, this was an absolutely incredible chapter, and we
Oh
will
yeah.
talk about that in detail when we do our actual episode for this week. But right now, I want to focus on this specific question of what does this mean if this is the end of the story?
Yeah. Part of me thinks like because we used to talk about like a theory we talked about a bit on our podcast ages
Yeah,
ago was the deadline may not be the big deadline that ends the story because
yeah,
it just like the fact that this story was set up so that everything was coalescing on this one night. I was almost like, is that like I don't know. I've read Wildbow enough to know that like if he's telling you everything is coming here,
mm.
part of me is always like, well,
You're expecting a bit of a fake out.
yeah, but then like as people are saying, like it'd have to be sort of the end of Act Two almost because the
Yeah, right.
like it wouldn't
Like,
be a one arc journey to get from here to
no.
like a defeating Charles ending, right? Like that's
No, exactly right. I think a comparison that was made in the Discord by it was DDev. Was, and this is a bit of a worm spoiler, well, a very soft worm spoiler, but this felt like it could be the end of arc 26, right, in the lead
the
up to arc
Slaughterhouse
30.
9000 thing.
Yeah, that ends.
Yeah.
Although that feels like it's more explicitly the setup for a finale, where this feels like, well, okay, and again, I feel like I'm still in the denial stage here, and we'll get to all the random threads that my brain has been desperately coming up with to try and justify how this isn't actually the end of the story. But um, like either this is or isn't the end of the story, right? One of those two is true. I think we can agree on that. Now, my point that I want to make is if this isn't the end of the story, it is clearly very intentional by Wildbow to make us think that it could be, right?
Yeah. Or at
So,
least to like he wants us to be having this conversation.
exactly right. Of
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like it's done, we've lost, right? Now, therefore, any argument that you might make that this is the end of the story is therefore invalid because that's just what we're trying to trick us.
It's all part of
And
his
therefore,
dastardly fairy plot.
yeah, exactly. And therefore, there's no argument you can make that can't be invalidated by my bullshit. Oh my
I
god.
eh, see I like the thing that it keeps coming back to for me, and this was like the main thing that we've been arguing about for like the last 2 weeks since the whole like
Mm.
13.13
The
might be the end thing.
13.13 thing is maybe the one really compelling piece of evidence that I've heard that it actually
Yeah.
the story is about to be over.
But like since we've been arguing around then, it's for me it's been like, does this work as the end of the Kenneteers
Yeah,
journey
yeah,
in
yeah,
the story?
yeah.
And this one definitely does that a lot
Oh
more
yeah,
than
100%.
1313.
I mean, a lot of the dangling threads have been like not resolved, but like acknowledged and felt. You know, like yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it like because
And that's
you
the
know,
thing. That's what makes it so scary, right? Is like apart from maybe Gillimay's slip to winter, but that even that got some, got some focus in this chapter.
yeah, and that could get rounded out in an epilogue. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I don't know.
100%.
I'm like going in circles because yeah, part of me thinks like, yeah, like again, since arc one, I think we've been saying this was not going to be a story that had like a nice, clean, round ending.
Mm,
Um, if this is the ending, I didn't expect this unclean an ending,
mm.
so to speak. But like, I guess just blatantly dropping into worm spoilers again. So if you don't want worm spoilers, sorry. But
Soz.
like Taylor died, right? Don't
Yeah.
at me. She's dead. And
No, 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 no,
like,
no, Elliot. Come on. I'm pretty sure there's still a chance.
but you know what I mean. Like when you end a
Yeah.
character's arc like that, that very much leaves it it's wrapped up in a very final sort of way.
Yeah.
This is definitely like with the Kenneteers. I'm almost like Avery's had her moment where she's leaving, and there's like some stuff, but then yeah, the other half of me is like, oh, I'm gonna be mad if we don't see these three in like whatever the
Well,
follow on
yeah.
stories are.
That's the scary thing is we know there are more Otherverse stories coming. And so Pale thematically, like, and I hate to say this, and it goes against everything that I believe in my heart of hearts about there being more left to this story. But thematically, Pale feels like it works really quite well as the the second act in the three beats of of exploring class and power structures and dynamics that is Pale Pact, and then I don't know, Plex or Pyre or whatever it is. Sorry, Pact, Pale, and then whatever, Pyre,
And
Plex,
Poke.
whatever it ends up being, and Poke, of course, the most important and exhaustive exploration of power structures. No, but you know what I mean. Like that's the
Yeah, yeah.
scary part to me is like I can really see how this slots very nicely into that slot after this chapter, and that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, like I could see if this was going to be the end, I could then see like a series of epilogues kind of setting up like rather than epilogues, I'd almost call them like
Yeah,
aftermath. Like it's going to
I mean
be
they would almost be glowworm esque, right?
yeah, yeah, in a way, just like not an epilogue in the sense of like this is this side character like where they've ended up post this and like
Yeah,
like it is still going to be that, but not for like a uh in that same like oh you're hopeful for where they go. This is going to be like this is now the struggle that person will be undergoing.
yeah, and there are a few threads you can really kind of point to that feel like they could be not tied up, but kind of acknowledged and handled and passed on gracefully in epilogue. Like Mussa condemning the town is one, Gillamay's fall to winter is one, like Zed and Bree's relationship with the BHI following Mussa's fucking betrayal is definitely one. Like Charles, like a Charles epilogue, certainly. Like these are all
Right.
things that I could see us getting into.
The crazy thing, so Charles has picked Kennet as his domain.
Seat, yeah.
Like so technically the Kenneteers are still the Kennet practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to work for him now, or like like do they? At the very least, it seems like they would have to try and work with him against Massa and Co.
Mm.
Which is like,
Yeah.
God. Now I hope it's not the end of the story because actually, oh that's going to be a
That's
ride.
pretty wild if that's a thought. Right. So that's one. I mean, we're segueing into tinfoil time now because a lot of people, myself included, have been kind of desperately trying to find ways to point at like, oh no, but what about this? This is clearly what's going to happen next, which is obviously all bullshit, but I think it is fun to explore. One is Mus's condemnation of the town and Charles's explicit in chapter confirmation that he's going to be kind of working against that, at least somewhat, right?
Yeah,
So that's possibly something
Rook called
something
this
there.
their first loss, which
Yes.
definitely means her and Miss aren't done.
Well, yeah, of course. Rook and Miss are have grander plans. Do you want me to give you some other wild fan theories? So here's
Yeah,
one. Time skip. We fill in a time skip. So time skip 6 months, whatever. Avery's coming back into town, and they're kind of enacting phase two of their plan they've been setting up in the past few months. We go forward a few weeks at a time. And at each step
yeah,
we get. Okay, this is the next point of the plan. Oh, this is the next point of the plan. This is the next point. Here, to expand on that, there's one that I'm pretty sure was a joke, but I'm gonna pull it out as a rational fan theory anyway, which is 13.13 is not the final chapter of the story, Elliot. The next chapter we're going to get is 13.13.1, and then we're going to go all the way up to 13.13.13, which will be the final chapter. Like that theory comes to us from JSO.
that does sound like JSO. They have a style in their
But
humor.
like,
Um, I
turn it
was gonna
into a three
pitch.
beat. That's interesting.
I don't know. I think this was just on our Discord as well. But when we had that, we started joking about how the story was going to be like the Kenneteers are going to end up in one of those Ted Havens time loops.
Yeah, yeah.
So after they lose this, they're gonna wake back up, and it'll be the day of their awakening ceremony again or
Mm,
something, and then we'll just get Pale 1.5.
mm, mm. That would be pretty wild. I've seen a few people suggest that Alpi's return in this chapter. I don't know if you caught it, but we haven't seen Alpi in a while, but she's finally back in this chapter. Implies that actually this has all been a dream.
I joked about that in my live read.
Oh,
Actually,
nice.
I
Yeah, good one.
I was like, "This is just a dream, right?"
Yeah,
Alpi's doing this to us.
that's definitely the first phase of denial there, Elliot. Um, Hey, here's one that I think actually has maybe some legs to stand on. It's maybe a bit too much of a clean solution to the problem that the Kentiers are facing, but I do kind of like it anyway. Which is like all the dangerous others around Kennet are now all dead, right? Like they've come to the Carmine contest, or they've been pulled in previously, or they're part of Team Kennet, right? Like
Sure.
that's the status. Uh, so therefore, there would be no one other than Charles around to contest Verona doing a domain ritual, claiming the entirety of Kennet. So Verona claims Kennet as her domain, right? The entire town. Only person who's around to contest it is Charles. Anyone else who wants to contest it, e.g., Mussa or whoever else that might be keen. I mean, like we don't really know the rules of how domain contest works,
No.
but
Well, presumably
I get the
Charles.
vibe that it will take a long. Like Charles is now saying it's going to take at least a day to get to Kennet, so therefore the challengers would have to get there after a day, and that might
Yeah,
not be like that might be enough time that the contest is just over by then. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. The story's been very vague with the specifics.
Yeah, yeah. And
I
Musser is still in town as far as we know right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so
Make
it
sure he
doesn't quite
leaves
track.
first.
Yeah.
um, but like, yeah, I would assume Charles would not be allowed to contest her
Oh,
too.
interesting. As the Carmine, you think?
I guess, yeah, like I don't know, like that would feel like a rule to me that the judges aren't allowed to interfere with domain
Yeah, I
claims.
can definitely see that. Um,
It might depend. Like definitely within the jurisdiction of like a city. Like if there's the Lord of Thunder Bay, that's
yeah,
outside the
true.
judge's jurisdiction now. But yeah, I don't know. Like we know Charles had his domain out in that
Mm,
shack. Yeah, I
mm.
don't know. That could like because that could give it hope because like I mean, as you said, all the others in Kennet probably just wouldn't contest her. Like
I mean, you would hope, right? Like, if you have to choose between Verona and Charles being in charge, um, despite what the TV show says, I wouldn't put Charles in charge.
I'm especially like we've seen how Avery has her non-traditional familiarship that she can share
Mm,
more easily with
exactly, exactly.
Lucy and Avery. Like if Verona,
Sets up
uh,
some kind of
yeah,
council-esque vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how domains work, but can she sort of claim it as a domain and then like let the council of others co-run it? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But as you said, this all feels very like this is very bargainy of like,
Well,
is this
yes.
legal?
It feels very desperate as a
Yeah.
thought, but also, if anyone was going to make the wild desperation play, who would it be? It would be Verona. And therefore, that's why I think this is what's going to happen next
But
in 13.13.1.
what's interesting with Verona at this point? So has she? So the glass
Has shattered.
injured her,
Yeah.
and then she's meant to miss an important moment,
Mm.
and I don't think that's happened yet.
No, it hasn't.
And I
But
don't. It would feel a bit weird to me. Like it's possible, but like I'd be surprised if Tashlit mostly healing her undid that part of the
no, but
curse.
that feels like the kind of thing that can come in an epilogue to me, right?
Yeah,
Again, I hate to be playing literal devil's advocate, arguing for the story to stop when I really don't want it to, but that feels like it could come in as an epilogue.
yeah, no, absolutely. Um, I just I was just double checking that I didn't miss something. Like, yeah, so she's still got that. So fuck knows what that would mean. Like, if the story isn't ending,
Mm,
then like, yeah, what will that mean?
mm.
knowing her, it'll be something in her personal life. She'll have to miss like a check in with like Cass, and it'll mean
Mm.
something goes well for her dad.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that would be an equivalent "fuck you" to Verona. Um, hey, so here's another question: what's happening to Bree now that that Yoda and the choir are gone? Like, is Bree just fucked?
But yeah, so that's really interesting because didn't she say that she was worried she would die if the choir was gotten rid of?
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was
we
why
know that she in the
she did
site
another
is still
round.
missing limbs and stuff, right? Like,
Well, yeah, and they did another round while the Kenneteers were at the Blue Heron Institute. We found out towards the end that Bree had done another round of the Hungry Choir ritual,
mm,
and there was like, oh, yeah, I swear, part of the logic that her and Zed claimed when she first took it in is they can't just destroy it because it's also keeping her alive.
mm.
So
So
yeah, that's a really good
yeah,
point.
it's
Like,
been destroyed now. So
I mean, Zed'll do whatever he can.
of course, but
Um,
the tension between Zed and Musa now is totally primed for a. I mean, an epilogue. I hate to say it.
yeah. Well, and I mean, because yeah, like, we've already talked about Zed and Ray. Like, presumably
Yeah.
Zed will give Ray a bit of an ultimatum for dealing with Musa for too long.
Mm,
But like, I love that Zed now doesn't feel safe going back to his house, so he is going to have to go back to the Blue Heron. That's Yeah, that's unfortunate.
yeah. It's so absolutely fucked. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know, Elliot. I don't know.
At
I
this
don't
point,
know.
Pale's got me at the stage where like I may as well flip a coin. I don't know, like as we all saw in Deep Impact, like I was never a predictor or anything like Scott was. I tried, wasn't. But Pale's definitely.
You did your best. You had some good ones in there.
I got lucky a couple of times, but definitely
Mm,
Pale's undermined any confidence I have in my ability to know where the fuck stuff's going.
sure.
I'm just along for the ride now. I still like to tinfoil and try and guess it, but I don't think I don't think I've been right about this story in a long time.
Yeah.
I never would have predicted it would go this poorly. I think we thought Charles
Yeah.
might win, but
Yeah,
I
I
thought
mean,
there'd be like, a Guillerme save right afterwards or something.
yeah, I've legitimately I'm pretty sure I said in the last chapter like what I'm expecting to happen was Charles to win and John to die, and then the Kennedys to have to do something to clean it up and win after that fact.
Yeah.
Like that was verbatim what I said. And even so, reading this chapter, like even though this is on paper what I was expecting, I'm just like I'm shattered. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
handle it.
In paper, not in spirit. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, do you have anything else you want to say about this chapter, Elliot, before we wrap up this impromptu reaction recording?
I mean, I don't know. I'm still just like a little bit in shock.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
gonna
like
be
I
a
don't
long
know.
few days for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, this is gonna be the longest 3 days of my life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard. Luckily, there's some stuff going on at work, so I don't really have to focus on work for the next 3 days.
Yeah, I thought it might be nice. I've prepared a bit of a palate cleanser for us and anyone listening to get us thinking about something else that will hopefully occupy our brains a little bit in the next few days. So when you're ready, it's a complete tangent. So when you're ready, I can just launch right into that. But if we have any final thoughts on this chapter, I mean, again, what a fucking chapter. We will talk about it on the weekend, but like,
Oh yeah,
holy fuck, so fucking good. Oh
I
my
can't
god,
believe we finally
hurts
got the
so good.
Jasmine point of view.
Oh yeah,
And now I'm here at the
Jasmine.
end of the chapter, and
Yeah,
I've like almost forgotten. I'm like,
I've had to stop myself saying things about Jasmine a few times because legitimately, I think that's most of what we're going to talk about this weekend because
yeah.
just that segment was incredible. Um, but yeah, okay. So here's a
So at
piece
least
of
we got our small victories with Jasmine. Like things
yeah,
worked out for Jasmine, and maybe that's
yeah. Maybe that's enough.
That's going to be the lesson
Um,
for Pale. Is like
no,
you got to keep winning the small victories.
before we segue away, let me give you another fan theory that was posted in our Discord, which is that Jasmine is now aware, and she's going to find out that Lucy. Sorry, she's aware enough that she's going to become a witch hunter. And either find out Lucy is a witch before or after she becomes a witch hunter, and either would be hilarious. So that'll be a fun little side story, I guess.
Wasn't like the final line of Jazz's segment like, "I won't let myself believe in angels and spirits."
Yeah, it was something
I feel
like
like that
that,
was
but
very. I feel like that was
sure.
Walbo explicitly putting a line at the end of her segment to make people not say exactly that.
But she did that when she looked at the piece of paper. There was this one line which to me stood out, where she was like, "Oh, I won't mention this because no one will believe me," which was like, "Oh, there's something magical about like there's something magical being described on that piece of paper that misleft you." Um,
That's true.
so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there could be more to it. It could just be, he's in the back seat of your car or whatever. But you're right. The way she was sort of thinking about it implies there might have been a little bit more.
Mm,
But I got the impression she was doing that thing where she was choosing to like crinkle it up and forget, like the thing that we kept trying to get Melissa
yes,
to do.
yes, 100%. Melissa, now there's a name I haven't heard in a while. All right. Well, should we wrap up, Elliot?
Yeah, what's this distraction you got
All right,
prepped
all
for
right.
us?
So here you go. Do you know that Nickelodeon Smash Brothers game that they've got coming out? That's got like SpongeBob and like
Y-
Nigel Thornberry and shit all in
I've
it, and
seen it
they're all
on
fighting
Twitter.
each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl game, it's set up to be absolutely wild. It's got like cat dog as fighters and stuff. Like it's absolutely wild. Do you know which character they just announced, Elliot?
Wait. Let me. Is it a Nickelodeon character?
It is a Nickelodeon character.
Who would be the wild? Wait, Tommy from Rugrats?
I'm pretty sure the Rugrats are already
Yeah,
represented.
no, of course.
So
They're
I'll
too
give you a
big a
hint.
property.
So there's actually three characters from this series uh, that are in there now. This is the third one they announced. I just missed all the announcements. But so that's your first hint. Do you need another hint?
Yeah.
Okay, here's your other hint. This is probably your favorite Nickelodeon property, you personally.
Interesting. Now I'm wondering what you think my favorite Nickelodeon
I'm
property is.
100% sure that I would be
Like,
correct in this answer.
yeah, so okay, so you're saying it's the third character from
Yeah,
Avatar to be put in. I mean, Aang and Korra have to have been the first
you're
two.
correct. They're the first two. Who do you think will be
So
the third choice?
okay, so like my gut instinct would be Zuko, but the fact that you're
Mm.
coming at me with this energy implies that it's a much sillier choice.
Well, it's not super silly. It tracks, but also for whatever reason, they seem to be kind of leaning slightly into the meminess. Like they're really picking slightly memey, but like fan favorite vibes for the
Yeah, so it's not the
characters.
cabbage. It's not the cabbage. It's not that meme.
It's not no, it's not Cabbage Man or whatever the fuck his name is. Billy Cabbage.
Like soccer or
Nah, wrong, buddy, wrong. But that's a good guess. Come on, who's everyone's favorite character from Avatar?
what like Momo?
No, it's Toph, Elliot. Of course
Okay,
it's
I'll see.
Toph.
Toph seemed too sensible a decision.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, if you were gonna pick somebody, you know,
Oh yeah,
Ang
I
and
picked Toph.
Korra, they're the primo picks. But then the
Uh,
fan favorite pick, 100% would be Toph.
yeah, between Zuko and Toph. Like,
Zuko's, I don't know. Well, I guess Zuko's a fan favorite in the kind of like romantic lead way, like the tortured hero,
yeah,
tortured anti-hero, I suppose. Actually, is correct.
I'd love Azula actually. Just like I think I'd have more fun being a psycho
That would
firebender,
be spicy.
like shooting blue fire at SpongeBob's face.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just thought that would be a fun thing to occupy your brain to palate cleanse from this chapter.
When's the final Smash Bros? Wait, isn't that in like a day or
It's
two?
October, I think 11th.
Oh, was it? No, I thought it was like the 5th.
Well, maybe it won't be that hard to get through the next few days. Okay, final Smash Bros. Oh no, October 5th. You're right. That's probably October 5th in the US, so we'll have to
Yeah,
wait until
so
the
it'll be
6th.
like Wednesday our
Do you want to put
time.
in your predictions? I mean, our current discussion question is which pale character would make a good Smash Bros. Fighter. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Charles just won the contest. Maybe it's time for him to enter another contest now.
Oh, the Carmine Exile.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, my pick is still like I think ever since you told me what's her face this the main character from Kingdom Hearts.
Sora.
Yeah, I can't look past that as an idea. It's not one I want, but like it makes a lot of sense.
I'm still, for, and maybe this is a theme with me given my reaction to this chapter, but I'm still holding out unreasonable hope that it will be a Rhythm Heaven character. And I
See, my
know that
like
it's unreasonable, but
my
they
balance.
had one in Brawl, Elliot. They had one that they axed. Like, come on, it's right there. You can do this, Sakurai. Do this for me.
My balance of realistic and I want it expectations is like one of the Mario Rabbids characters.
Oh yeah, that would be juicy.
But I've been predicting that for about the last three character reveals, and we just get shitty fighters and
We
more
just
sword
get Sword
people.
Fighter after
So
Sword
like
Fighter, eh?
I've given up.
Mm. So yeah,
Anyway, so that's pale.
that's pale. Join us later this week for the actual the actual episode. And we'll see whether it's 13.13.1, whether it's 14.1, whether it's 13.x or E.1 or whatever. What a ride. What a ride it's been, huh?
Yeah, yeah. No matter what happens next, I love that I'm sitting here like this right now.
Yeah, it's a what a time. What a time to be alive. Yeah, I mean, duffmedia.com/discord, join the discord, duffmedia.com/patreon, support us, support Warbo, patreon.com. Sorry, did I say duffmedia.com/patreon? I meant patreon.com/duffmedia. It's almost 2 a.m. here. Also support Warbo at patreon.com/Warbo because I mean, like, he deserves it after this, right? Like, he deserves everything that he gets, but in a good way. In a good financial stable way.
Yeah, sorry, I just like dissociated for a minute there. Is there anything left for me to say, or did you just do the whole
No,
outro?
I just did the whole thing,
Okay,
baby.
good.
We're done. Ship it.